thought it might take just a moment to take a look at some of the materials that we'll be using in this class and some alternate materials as well, or I should say optional materials. First off is just a plain number 2 Ticonderoga pencil. Doesn't have to be a Ticonderoga, doesn't have to be black like this, but this will be sufficient, I think, to get you most of the way through the course. To keep that pencil sharp, either a hand sharpener or an electric sharpener will do the job. Now, some of you may have or may have heard of pencil sets for actual drawing pencils like this one. They have a number of designators on them that can be confusing to some folks, so I thought I'd take a moment just to explain some of how this works. So from this side over we have H pencils, and this side over we have B pencils, and each one is numbered from 2 to 10. So H pencils are hard leads, and the harder the lead, meaning the higher you go in the numbers, so the harder the lead is. So a 10H is the hardest pencil there is, and you can see that makes a very light line. A 2H is still a hard pencil and is very good for doing layout of drawings, but you can see we get a bit of a darker line with that one. Now, moving into the B's, B is softer lead, and the softer the lead is, the darker the line is. So I'll start here with a 2B, which is about equivalent to your number 2 Ticonderoga. And then we'll take a look at a 10B here, which is really dark and soft. So the higher the number H, the harder the lead is. Move towards the center, it starts getting darker. Moving out to the higher the number in the B's, the softer and darker the lead is. So those are set pencils, or you can buy them individually as well in set or as drawing pencils. Next, another type of drawing pencil is a lead holder. And this is exactly what it says it is. It's got a button here that you can lengthen the lead or shorten it. And it holds a piece of lead. Now you buy these leads separately, and they come in everything from about 3H to about 6 or 8B. And these are really good as well. Now these don't sharpen with the regular sharpener. These use what's called a letter, and you sharpen it like that, and that'll put a hypodermic sharp point on that pencil. Now another type of lead holder is one I really like. It's just a chunky one, and these come in wood. This one's aluminum, holds a huge hunk of lead, which I just sharpen in a normal sharpener. But what I like about this is nice dark line, big heavy weight hunk of lead, and it has some heft to it. I like drawing with pencils that have a bit of heft to them rather than pencils that are really lightweight. Now, along with those pencils, those 3 types pretty much cover the range, but there are some specialty pencils. In particular, I want to draw your attention to the ebony pencil. It's called ebony because it's a fairly dark pencil, probably somewhere in the 6 to 8B range. And it's just really a good all-purpose drawing pencil because you can get a light line out of it and you can get really dark lines out of it as well. So that's an ebony pencil. So that about covers the range of pencils. Now let's take a look at charcoals. There are 2 basic types of charcoal. The first is vine charcoal. It's called vine because it's made from vines and from willow twigs, and it's very brittle. But what I love about it is it makes a very nice painterly line. Now, vine charcoal is good for laying out drawings because it doesn't, as you can see, hold very well on the paper. The other type of charcoal is called compressed charcoal. And that's the charcoal you're probably familiar with. Comes in sticks that are either round or squared off. Gives a nice, rich, dark to it and holds the paper really well. You know, I'm smearing hard and it's not really coming off of it. Now, there are a lot of different forms of compressed charcoal. Sticks like this, but it also comes in pencil form. So the company General makes 3 types of charcoal pencil, and this just sharpens in a regular sharpener: medium, soft, and hard. And as you can guess, hard is a lighter line, medium's in the middle, and soft is darker. So these work really well. They're nice to draw with. And then there is another type of charcoal pencil that I really like a lot. This comes in hard and soft. And the reason I like this so much, you don't have to sharpen it. This string you can pull, and then you can just peel off a layer of this wood shavings, like so. And it reveals more lead, so you just keep going. You never really have to use a sharpener if you turn this around and around. So these are great. I use them in my life drawing class that I meet with every week, and those are made by Prang. I think they're made by another company too, but they're not so easy to come by any longer. So again, another form of compressed charcoal. So I think that pretty much talks about the tools that we might use. I haven't yet spoken about erasers. There's 2 erasers that I really like a lot. The first comes this way. It's called a kneaded eraser, K-N-E-A-D-E-D, and that's because you get it out of the packet and you knead it like you would knead bread, stretching it, get it all soft and gummy, and then erase with it. And these are terrific. This is the eraser that I use most often. Another form of eraser that is really good for our purposes is, this is like an empty tube, like the lead holder, but it holds a hunk of eraser. And what I like so much about this is you can take an X-Acto, sharpen that up like that to a real sharp line, and then you can erase a real sharp line. Now that's not going to erase very well on heavy charcoal, but in pencil it works really nicely. So there are other drawing materials as well. Pastel sticks, chalk sticks, and there are Conte crayons and all kinds of drawing implements as well, but these are the basic ones we'll be using in this course. Now, we draw on paper, and there's a ton of different types of paper. First up is what I want us to be using in this course, and that's a sketchbook. Okay, sketchbook come in a lot of different forms, but most of them have a bit of tooth to the paper. And by tooth, I mean texture. So there's enough texture there to hold your pencil line really nicely. When you're looking for sketchbooks, look for a hard cover, because you can hold this on your lap, like if you're drawing in a park, on the train, whatever, and it's not going to flop all over the place. Okay, so that's a sketchbook. Then there are a bunch of different types of paper that have texture. Starting with, some people like to draw on watercolor paper. It's got a heavy texture to it. I don't particularly like this, but some folks do. There is paper made expressly for charcoal, but the cool thing about it, now this, I don't know if you can see it, but it has what's called a laid finish, L-A-I-D, and it's grooved kind of so that it picks up the charcoal, but you know what? It's beautiful for pencil as well. So that's charcoal paper. Pastel paper, same thing, pastel paper, as you can see here, has a heavy texture to it so that it catches the chalk and holds it. but some folks like to work on this as well. And another type of very common drawing paper is Bristol. Now the Bristol papers tend to be a little bit smoother. There are two types of surface: vellum, which has a little bit of tooth to it, and plate, which is really smooth. And you wouldn't think smooth paper would necessarily lend itself well towards pencil, but it does. It's a really nice finish to work on if you're careful and don't scratch it and scuff it. So that's Bristol. And then lastly, there are some specialty papers like oil painting paper. This has like a canvas texture to it and really makes for a nice drawing surface as well. So in addition to pad form, all these papers come in sheet form as well. And so the best thing I recommend is, if you want to experiment around, number one, you can purchase sample packs, but the best thing is just go to your art store and buy, 6 or 7 different sheets of drawing paper, try them out, then the one you're happiest with, either continue to buy sheets or buy it in pad form like that. So that should clear up any questions that you might have regarding materials that would pertain to the course that we're doing right now.